Hey guys, welcome to Chrissy's Books. I am Chrissy. Thank you for tuning in this week. And as usual, if you do like my book reviews, make sure you hit that subscribe button below so you can get all my latest reviews like this one. So let's jump right into this week's book. So for this week, I read The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I'm sure you've all heard of this book. I am definitely late to the party. I know. It took me a minute to read this book. I tried to read it back in 2017 when it came out, and it was literally on every single bestseller list. I think it was on the New York Times bestseller list for like 50 weeks in a row. It was a huge book. I tried to read it 3 times, and I just could not get into it. I don't know why. I wasn't in the headspace for it. And also I was going through like a psychological thriller phase, so that's probably why. But finally, with everything that's been going on recently with the George Floyd protests and the Black Lives Matter movement that's been brought to light in the US and globally over the past few weeks, I felt that, you know what, let me actually just like pick up this book and read it. Just because I just feel like we just should be supporting Black authors out there. And, it's a great book and gotta read it. So let's jump right into the plot of this book. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas follows a 16-year-old girl named Star Carter who moves between 2 worlds. The first one is the poor neighborhood where she is from and where she was raised. And then the other one is the ultra suburban private sort of / prep school where she attends with her 2 brothers. The unsettling balance between the 2 opposite worlds is completely shattered when Star witnesses the shooting of her childhood friend Khalil at the hands of a white police officer. Khalil was unarmed, by the way, during this. And then soon after Khalil's death, it makes national headlines with some reports saying that Khalil was a drug dealer, that he's a thug, that he's a gangbanger. And this lights up activists who take it to the streets to protest against the brutal crime. And then meanwhile, some cops and local drug dealers trying to intimidate Star and her entire family when they find out that she is the one who witnessed the murder. Everyone basically wants to know what exactly took place that night, and the only person who can answer all of these questions to the cops and also the community is Star Carter. Star struggles with what to do or what to say, as whatever she could say could put herself and her family in danger, as well as upend her entire community. The Hate You Give is about one girl's struggle for justice and was powered and inspired by the Black Lives Movement. Right, so I'm just gonna jump right in with my review of The Hate You Give. So this book was literally everything. From the very first page you pick up and you read the book, you are completely pulled into Star's world and everything she goes through. The story is told from Star's point of view throughout the entire book, which meant that you got a real sense of who she was and everything that was going through her mind during these very difficult times, as well as her everyday life with her eccentric family and her vibrant neighborhood. I literally fell in love with Star Carter's character because she is just so freaking cool. She's like literally the realest 16-year-old girl. She's so smart and she's really funny and she's really resilient and she just has an awesome personality. And you get to really see her shine when she's hanging out with her friends and her family. And even the amount of adversity and challenges that she faces in this book is just absolutely intense for just one 16-year-old to go through. I mean, not a lot of people go through that. With everything put together, she still manages to be like super awesome. So I just really loved her character. And I also really liked the family dynamic in this book. Star's family is literally freaking awesome. They're like what we all want in a family. They're all really funny. They care about each other. And there's just so much love that they have for each other. And you just want to be like hanging out in their house, watching basketball games and just like chilling. They're just super cool. The mom is literally the rock of the family. She's definitely in charge. And Maverick, Star's father, is literally like one of the best characters ever. He's just super cool. He's so down to earth. And he just knows who he is, and he's so wise. He's basically like the Mufasa of like the ghetto. I love him. I really liked how real and how legitimate this book felt. It was pretty much spot on in terms of the culture clash between privileged suburban life and also the poor urban neighborhoods. And I really like the way Angie Thomas depicted this throughout the entire book. It was written really realistically. It felt like you were almost like reading a script or were watching a movie, because it was just like super like action packed. And I quite liked the way that she told the story in a sort of like scripted way. This is definitely a very relevant read for white people and for privileged people and for young teenagers, just to know what it's like with the racial inequality in America and for Black people and in poor communities. So Angie Thomas titled The Hate You Give after Tupac Shakur's thug life concept. It's basically an acronym, and Tupac had this concept basically talked about throughout his career, and it was the hate you give little infants fucks everybody. Tupac was, if you don't know who he was a super famous American rapper from the West Coast and an actor as well, and was considered to be one of the most significant rappers of all time. In case you didn't know, Tupac addressed issues such as racial injustice, social issues within inner city communities, and he was literally considered a symbol of resistance and activism against inequality. If you listen to most of his rap songs and most of his tracks, it's all about everything that he goes through within his life, because he did grow up in a poor community. I just really like that Angie Thomas was inspired by Tupac in this book. And The Hate You Give, in a nutshell, Star told us in the book, basically means that the system is designed against us. Us meaning Black people, meaning the suffering of Black communities through systematic racism, social injustice in poor neighborhoods, lack of opportunities, lack of resources, corporate America, and just simply plain racism. And I really loved that Angie did not shy away from the realities of these issues and just like really delved into it, because this is something that is happening right now. It's something that's been going on for decades. It's not some big secret. And I just really like that she just like put it straight up in your face and talked about these issues because they are real. Right. So guys, we're just gonna take a little water break because you know it's summer and I'm thirsty. And stay tuned, because when I come back, I will give you my rating for this book and also my song pick. Welcome back, guys. So my rating for The Hate You Give is... I gave The Hate You Give a 9 out of 10. Yes, I freaking loved this book. My 9 out of 10 rating basically means that this book was freaking excellent. It was very close to perfection. I mean, it was pretty much perfect to me. It had very minimal flaws. It was an enjoyable read, and I would definitely wholeheartedly recommend this book. So please read it. Yes. So The Hate You Give is a story about racism and police brutality. It is a coming of age story about love, about friendship, about faith, about close communities. It's an activism story about using your voice to be heard and to make a change. And I just loved all the characters in this book. Everybody had depth. It was a truly emotional roller coaster. Page turner. Like, I could not stop reading it. It was so good. And I was expecting the book to be quite dramatic given what it was about, but it wasn't like that at all. It was a very like amazing book to read and very easy to read as well. So my 4 words that I would use to describe The Hate You Give are, it was a bold book because of what the story was about. It was very raw. It was definitely not like a PG-13 book, even though it is a young adult book. It was very raw, very real. It was a phenomenal book. I mean, it took the world by storm when it came out in 2017. It was just a freaking awesome book. And it was tragic, given what the story is actually about. It's something that's very real, that's happening right now. It's been happening for decades. I could not recommend this book enough. It was a phenomenal read, and you're really able to understand what the Black Lives Movement is all about. And just to know what it feels like to be a Black person, or sort of kind of know what it feels like to be a Black person, to have to live in fear, and to know that you were automatically judged by the color of your skin. This is a definite must read for white people. It's a definite must read for privileged people, for anyone who's not Black, just so that you know what it's like for Black people. It's also an incredible book for teenagers because they are our future. They are the ones who are going to shape our future for future generations. So just a great book for everyone to read. Definitely hit it up. This was Angie Thomas's debut book in 2017, and she literally took the world by storm. Even though she did write this book in 2017, it's so very relevant to everything that's going on right now. And it was actually made into a movie a while back, which I have not watched yet, so I really hope that the movie does justice to this book because the book was just really awesome. Right, so let's talk about my song pick for The Hate U Give. This was obviously an easy song pick for me because, I mean, the song choice actually was quite difficult, but I knew obviously I had to pick Tupac because the actual book was inspired, the book title was inspired by Tupac's Thug Life concept, and all of Tupac's, well, most of Tupac's songs are really very relevant to this book, and it was really hard to pick a song for this book. I could not choose between two songs, and the one that I was almost close to picking was So Many Tears because I just really like that song. It's a great track. But my song pick for The Hate U Give is Trapped by Tupac, of course. Watch the music video, listen to the lyrics. It's just a great track, and it very much has to do with everything that goes on in this book and what's going on in the community. He's a freaking great artist. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe if you like my book reviews, and feel free to click my written review as well. Thank you so much, and see you next week.